Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today is a video for the first time in what feels like a very long time. The European nights are back as we face yet another trip to Belgium, this time to play Antwerp. Now before we go ahead and dive into today's video, which is going to be absolutely stacked as there's so much to actually break down and discuss, a wee channel update, not a cheap plug this time, ladies and gentlemen, because you watching today's video may have followed me on Twitter before, because I like to, fire out some Rangers news and usually some crappy one-liners. Well, I've actually created a new Twitter account, so we've just started up late last night, so if you're not following the new account and if you want to follow it, go ahead and click the link in the description below, or just type in CJNovo992 into Twitter and you'll be able to find the crap jokes and Rangers news right there. But important channel updates and all that to one side, let's get to business then, shall we? And as always, we will start off with the old oppositional preview and have a look at Antwerp, who, as I'm currently recording today's video, are sitting second in the old Belgian league. That's right, people, right off the bat, this team that we are facing tomorrow, it isn't a joke or a walkover. They are sitting second in the old Belgian league, above the likes of Genk and Anderlecht. Now, it is very, very close, but I think a lot of that's got to go down to the fact that this is a team that has had a managerial change this season. After their bright start, beating the likes of Jose Mourinho's Spurs in the Europa League and looking fantastic, they really hit a bad spell and just started to plummet. But the board was like, nah, we are not going to watch this happen. Out with the old, in with the new. And by all accounts, the board stepping in and making that managerial change has been a success, because the manager has now been in charge coming into this game versus Rangers of 10 matches. He's won 6 and only lost 3. One of them being against the running away leaders Club Brugge, who's just beaten everybody this season. And the other 2 was early on when he first came into the job, as there were still teething problems with his play style and the squad. The missing link in those 10 games, by the way, if you've got the old fingers up counting, saying 6 wins, 3 losses, where's the other game? Well, that's actually the most recent game of football, and it's been the only draw under the new manager, as they drew 1 each away from home versus familiar foe Standard Liège. And yes, I did think of the Kamal Roof goal. But that absolute scream dream and goal of the season from Kamal Roof to one side, back to tomorrow's opposition. One of the most interesting things about this team, in my personal opinion, is actually how they line up and how they play, because they play with sort of a standard 3 at the back that, yes, is a 5 when they're actually defending, but this is a team that absolutely presses the football. And this is going to sound daft, but please stick with me before you shout at me and everything. But do you remember that game versus Hamilton? In that game where they were one-on-one with us all the time, they pushed us over the park, they chased us down, and they had one-on-one the entire game. Well, this is very, very similar to what Antwerp actually does. They like to get in people's faces. They use the 3 at the back so they can pack the middle, get 2 up top, press on the back line, and just try to win the ball back. They're just nip, 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 and that's what I saw from looking at this team, especially under the new manager. They're just a nuisance where they just get in your face, didn't allow you to pass it, didn't give you time, and that's usually where their goals are actually coming from. Nipping the ball, ending up winning a foul, scoring from the set piece, or forcing someone into a mistake and capitalising on that and going ahead and grabbing goals. That is what this new manager's brought in to Antwerp since he's walked in the door. And that for me is going to be the test in this game for Rangers Football Club, especially if Antwerp play to the way they've been playing under the new manager. Are we going to be able to adjust and take advantage of that high press, that 1v1 over the park? We couldn't do it a couple of weeks ago, but maybe that was just one of those games where we just weren't yet the races. This is European nights at Ibrox, sorry. It's European nights for Rangers, people. This is what gets the plums plumping. And I think if you look at what we've been able to do in Europe so far, especially under Steven Gerrard, because before that it was just sad for a very, very long time. But under Steven Gerrard, he seems to always get us playing the right way, and that's sitting a wee bit further back and playing to the counter-attack. And I just look at the way this opposition sets up, and it genuinely couldn't fit any better, because their line is ridiculously high. They are getting in your faces, and there is space to take advantage of all damn day. And I'm pretty sure we will see a lot of corner goals into Ryan Kent in this freaking game. Now, a lot of the talk coming into this game of football is going to be about the players that's missing for Antwerp, because there is a couple of key players that is missing for them, especially their number 1 striker, their out-and-out best striker at the football club. He's suspended, and his natural replacement, who has came in and looked very, very dangerous, is also out with a calf issue as well, reportedly. So that leaves them down to their 3rd choice striker, which just happens to be a player they signed in January from Standard Liège, who played against us twice. Let's just hope it's no third time the charm for that fella. But all joking and all that aside, that's kind of it for the old oppositional preview. I'm expecting a very, very tough game of football. People can look and say, aye, but I avoided this team or this team or this team. Absolutely, we did. But this isn't any team to scoff at either. This is a team that bet Jose Mourinho's Spurs side and only finished 1 point behind them in the group as well, by the way. So I don't think it's going to be an easy game of football, and especially the way that they like to get in people's faces and likes to hurry and harass. I don't think we'll get time on the football like we have done over a couple of games, especially in European football. So it is going to be a much more sharper Rangers team, but if we are at it and if we do get that European response like we normally do from Steven Gerrard, we may, just may, have a field day with how high and many people they pile forward. And with the oppositional preview now done and dusted, it's time to flip over and talk about what matters most, which brings us, yes, to talking about another needless sideshow distraction from selfish players that just brings negativity to the football club when it just didn't need to be this week. It's an absolute needless sideshowing distraction ahead of a massive European game. And listen, we all heard the rumours a couple of days ago, but I didn't want to jump ahead and try and get on the hype train or anything like that, because there's no hype about that in my opinion. I wanted to just sit back and wait for the club to confirm it or deny it. And you know what I mean, maybe I'm just really naive, but there was a part of me that was clinging on to the fact that please just deny this, dinna do it, because that right there is a shambles. But today we got the answer, ladies and gentlemen, as 5 Rangers players went ahead and broke COVID/club protocols once again. The 5 players being Zungu, Nathan Patterson, Calvin Bassey, Brian Kinnear and young Dapo, who's currently out on loan to Queen of the South right now as well. And just reflecting to that list right there, some people may look at it as Zungu, then 4 other younger players, and they maybe want to wrap the younger players in a coral blanket, make excuses for them and just make Zungu the scapegoat. And if that's how you're feeling, by the way, get involved down there in the comment section below. It's always about the discussion, and hell, I'm usually wrong anyway. But for me, I'm just being honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Every single one of them is on the exact same level in terms of blame, in my opinion, because every single one of them was well warned before an incident ever happened this season. But this is 2 months after 2 players done a similar incident and broke COVID and club protocols. This is 2 months after a similar incident that saw 2 players leave at the quickest opportunity by the name of Jordan Jones and George Edmondson. And not only did the club move them as soon as they could, they brought in replacements for them by the name of Jack Simpson and Scott Wright as well, ladies and gentlemen. That is enough of a warning and a slap on the wrist and an example of what happens if you want to go ahead and be selfish and stupid and break the rules that's in place. Honestly, to me, it's beyond baffling, and I'm really even struggling to comprehend and put it into words, because the sheer arrogance to see just 2 months later everything that happened and then go ahead and break the rules again. The disrespect to Steven Gerrard and the coaching staff, to your teammates who's ran out there and burst their pan and gave everything to put us in a position where we are very successful so far this season, and a very good position in the league and a good place in Europe. The disrespect to them and the disrespect to the club to drag our name through the muck again, just 8 weeks after, 2 people decided to do it before. For me, it's baffling, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. And listen, I know people can make mistakes. Hell, I've made plenty, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to hide away and try and say that I'm perfect or anything like that, but I still think we as fans of this football club are well within our rights to be pissed off, angry and just straight up disappointed that 2 months after it happened once, it's went ahead and happened again. I think we're well within our rights to feel these emotions. But regarding potential outcomes, I think it's going to be a similar scenario to Jordan Jones and George Edmondson, where they get punted and replaced at the quickest opportunity. I don't think so for the majority of them. I think Zungu's time is done and dusted. He won't be winning a contract at this football club. Not only is he going to get fined, as Steven Gerrard confirmed, by the way, he's obviously going to get suspended as well by the SFA, so he probably won't kick another ball for Rangers the rest of the season. So that loan where he had an opportunity and a chance to play under his idol Steven Gerrard and win a contract at Rangers, he's just threw away, and that's a shame because he had the tools. There was a player in there, people. He just didn't respect Steven Gerrard and respect the badge enough to go ahead and give it everything and just follow the rules. The rest of the players are obviously on the younger side of things, and the majority of them are actually involved with the youth team. You're looking at Dapo and you're looking at Brian. I think Brian's opportunities and the rewards to getting in amongst the first team a couple of occasions will be swiftly removed, and he'll be back down there till they decide what happens with the laddie. Dapo's a wee bit an interesting one because he's currently out on loan to Queen of the South, and if you've heard Kevin Thompson or Peter Livenkrantz on Rangers TV talk about this laddie, there is clearly a player in there that they think can go very, very high in the game, and this loan was supposed to unlock that door for him and give him an opportunity to improve and grow as a player, then come back and challenge and get amongst the first team, I should say. I shouldn't say challenge because he's not there yet, but get amongst, train with them and learn for the first team. But I think he maybe have screwed that up, and that's a shame because I've spoken to this laddie a couple of times and he's always been nothing short of professional and top class, so it's a surprise to see him get involved with something as silly as this. So it's going to be interesting to what happens to him because he's a guy, again, with high potential. But the last two, ladies and gentlemen, is where I really struggle with today's video. Nathan Patterson and Calvin Bassey. These were the two guys that gave me so much warmth in the heart because I knew we were covered at fullback, not only for now, but the foreseeable future, because that is our future at fullback. Bassey on the left, Patterson on the right. We were sold, ladies and gentlemen, and they've deserved it because they've worked hard. They've came here. Bassey, slightly different as he's obviously came from Leicester's academy, but he's worked here. He's had a couple of very good games. His most recent game was obviously a bad game versus St Mirren, but he's a young player. That's going to happen, and Patterson has just been living the dream. He's worked his arse off, he's worked his way all the way up, and he's been training with the first team the entire frickin' season. What a job they've done to get to where they are. And that's where I just struggle with this, ladies and gentlemen, because honestly, if you would have asked me two younger players or anything that would have stepped up and done this, I would never, ever have said Bassey and Patterson. I just wouldn't have, and I think that's what stings more than anybody else on not only this list, but the previous one as well. I just didn't expect it for these two laddies, and I'm so surprised they were dumb enough to get involved in something like this. Especially young Patterson, man. He's one of us. He gets it in here. He's just signed a new 4-year contract, and that might be in jeopardy now, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be very interesting to see what Steven Gerrard done. If you haven't seen the little interview, by the way, you could see by his eyes and the way he spoke that he is very pissed off. He's confirmed that all the players will be fined, all the players will be suspended, and once they're all done self-isolating, he will sit down and talk to them one-to-one, face-to-face. And the way he said that, can I tell you everything you needed to know? So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to a lot of these young players that had such bright futures at this football club. But aye, let's move away from the negativity, ladies and gentlemen. We had to obviously address it, we now have, but it's time to move on from it because, again, like we said a couple minutes ago, this should be all positive. This should be fully focused on what is a huge European night for this football club, and I'm not going to let it be distracted by that any longer. Let's dive in and speak more about this game then, shall we? Because we have some good news, ladies and gentlemen, and that's regarding the old firepower in this squad, because not only is Alfredo frickin' Morelos finished his suspension and back, but so is Kemar Roofe, who obviously still has a suspension in the Scottish game, but not in Europe. So we welcome back Kemar Roofe and Alfredo Morelos for this game, and that right there drastically changes the offensive weapons we have. And I think we can all agree on one thing at least in today's video. Morelos will be starting this game, and Kemar Roofe will be involved on that right hand side along with Kent on the left, as that is kind of the Gerrard's free that he's been trying to build and get consistency under, and we've played some of our best stuff with. The good news, by the way, just continues as everyone else is good to go, as the team has been well and truly strengthened by the return of Scotty Arfield as well, who obviously made his cameo at the weekend. He's back in contention for this game of football. The only exception to the rule of the team who's not fit and available for this is, of course, your man, Big Katic. But everyone else, like the likes of Scotty Wright's involved in the game. He's been included in the squad. Jack Simpson is in the European squad, so we may see them involved, maybe on from the bench. I think more so Scott Wright, but still, you're looking at the weapons and you look at our strengths in Europe and you look at their weakness with the high line and piling people forward. The pacey options of Scotty Wright could be vital in the second half as well. So it's all gearing up to be a phenomenal watch. Now that I've said that, watch it be 0-0. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the oppositional preview. That's unfortunately been the negative story we had to discuss, and that's been the latest Rangers team news as well. So now it's time to take all of that and try to give a wee prediction on. So while you guys are hopefully getting involved with all your opinions on all the topics we discussed down there in the comment section below, I will give you my prediction for the game, and I think it's going to be a back and forth type game. I think it's going to be very high paced, and I do think it's going to be Rangers 2, Antwerp 1, with goals coming from none other than Alfredo Morelos and Kamal frickin' Roof. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's been today's video. I know it's a wee bit longer than normal, but hopefully you did enjoy it enough anyway to be hitting that like button. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to be subscribed to the channel and help us on our way to hopefully one day reaching the channel dream of 55 frickin' K. Take care of yourselves, everyone. I'll see you after the game tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.